Let me go on the phone lines and speak to Buaben Asamoa. He's a former MP for Adentan and spokesperson of the Alan campaign team. YB, you're welcome to Eyewitness News.
Thank you.
Is this to say end of the game, goodbye to the game, or it is to say things didn't go well, I want things to go right, and when they go right, I'll return? Which one is it that your boss is announcing to the Ghanaian population?
He's announcing to the Ghanaian population that he has withdrawn from this particular process. This process, which is stacked in favor of one person and is stopping at nothing. It's not stopping at intimidation. It's not stopping at impunity. It's not stopping at inducement in order to secure the vote for one particular person. And that process is what he has withdrawn from. And fortunately, I'm happy to say that he recognizes the numbers of people who believe in him and that he has acknowledged that belief. But he goes on to say that this process that is ongoing will not deliver their expectations. The expectations of him being selected as the leader in order to lead the party to the realization of his vision will not happen with this process. So rightfully so, he is convinced and he has had the courage to drop out of this particular process. Whatever he chooses to do in politics, and he says he will consult and come back to us over the next few weeks about what you do. I pray Ghana is not deprived of its exceptional talent. Alan is not your typical politician with the loud one-liners and funny quips and all that. But he's a very deep thinker, and he gets things done. His exceptional record in office, and now the innovations he's bringing, and he's been pushing towards the party Agenda 2030, which is looking at innovative funding for party politics, the GTP, which is looking at how we transform our economy and all those things. I think that I look forward to listening to him about how he intends to impact Ghana politics. So, yes, he's not dropping out of politics entirely from the statement, but clearly this is targeted at the process that's ahead of us in terms of after November 4th.
Now, what he has done could be interpreted by critics to be chickening out of a race that he has suffered huge defeat. He comes third in a race that he was tipped to be first, or at least the first two. He gets defeated by two new entrants to a race he has been in for the past 16 years. What he has said in that statement amounts to someone who has been defeated but who not honorably stepped down, but blaming the party for a defeat that he suffered, don't you think?
Yes. As for politics, you cannot stop people speculating and trying to put their own lenses on whatever happens. But the truth of the process that we are going through in the NPP is not NPP-like. It's not a democratic process. The party is acting with impunity. It is making rules and changing the rules at will. Everybody can see that going on. The last Special Delegates Conference was full of intimidation. We have all the stories. It's not important to tell the stories anew, but the process is such that escalated into November 4th. There is no way it would throw up a candidate that has been willingly produced by delegates who have exercised their mandate freely and fairly. Comment is free, but facts and the courage of one's convictions are the most important. I think Alan should be commended for having the courage of his convictions. As to other opinions, it's a political space. Everybody will have a right to comment going forward.
Yeah, but again, people can comment, except that he has not acknowledged the massive defeat he suffered. They should have acknowledged that and explained. Because, you see, one second, he keeps referencing an attack on one of his agents in one of 16 regions in Northeast. If he lost Northeast region and won other regions, he could then say that his defeat in the Northeast region was attributed to an assault on his agent. But he lost Northeast, so did he lose so many other regions, including his home region. And yet, the only thing he can point to in that statement is that there was intimidation and an assault on his agent in Northeast. Should he not simply say, listen, I think the NPP people do not like me at this time, and so I'm bowing out of this race, and allow the NPP people choose the one they believe is the right person to lead them, and apparently I am not. It is not my turn after all. Should he not be honorable and do that as a senior politician?
Unfortunately, he doesn't have to. He doesn't have to say what you want him to say. Unfortunately,
not what I want him to say, but what he ought to say.
You want him to say.
No, what he ought to say.
Statement. But you are saying what he ought to say. That means that's what you want him to say. Umaru, it doesn't work that way. You are not within the party. He has honorably withdrawn. We are not going to go back and rehash all the incidents one by one. These are real things that are happening. The party knows what is happening. The party hierarchy knows what is happening. And my brother, it is not for us to sit on your network and explain that. So if you choose that approach, that is your option. You're a commentator. So you have a right to see it the way you want to, but you can't compare him to see it your way. What is happening is real, and it will not lead to it will not lead to a coalition of the willing among delegates. How come somebody say that they want something and the entire week it's being as quiet as a funeral? So please.
Who are you referring to?
Who was first. This was not a contest to determine who was first or second. It was a selection. The selection is over. Mr. Kyerematen believes that he doesn't belong in this process because it is not a good process. It is not the right process. It is going against all the ethos of fair democratic principles. It is being skewed deliberately, and it has undertones of violence throughout the country, not just the Northeast. It has happened already. He's advised himself. He's withdrawn from this particular process. He can't be faulted for that. You are entitled to your own opinion, Mr. Umar Isabda.
Do you also not, as a campaign team, think that maybe you will do better when it gets to the 200,000 delegates? So this withdrawal is premature?
I am thinking that Mr. Kyerematen has made it very clear that he hasn't abandoned the political scene because he says that he will do something in politics. It's in the statement. I am looking forward to what he implies in that, and I think I'll rather focus and wait for that.
What could he possibly be doing in politics again? What is left for him to do?
I thought I heard you reading the statement.
Yes, he says that he will announce what his next step or what his role is going to be. But I'm just wondering, could that mean that he would come again in the future? Is that one of the options on the table, or this is it, is the end?
I think he has stated it clearly in the statement that he is going to consult stakeholders, family, a broad range of stakeholders, and that this is not the last of that we hear of him. The battle remains the Lord. The statement is very, very clear.
Let's talk about his role in the New Patriotic Party. The last time he had challenges in the party during an internal election, he resigned from the party. It became a blot on his image in the New Patriotic Party. Tonight he's announcing a withdrawal in a crucial race like this one. Will NPP people ever forgive Alan Keyerematen for these actions?
He didn't resign. It was a conditional letter that certain things that had to be corrected, things that were against his supporters, that had to be corrected. Once those things, there was commitment to correction, the letter you are talking about insisting was a resignation, being conditional, did not have effect. So he did not resign. And now he has withdrawn from a process that he has had the courage to define as being unfair, skewed, deliberately skewed, full of intimidation. He has a right to protect his supporters. And so let's give him that opportunity.
Now, this intimidation, we've seen Kennedy Japon announce publicly in a video that we saw where he said his agents were being intimidated. Alan Keyerematen has listed what happened to his agent in Northeast region. Kennedy Japon, who was very furious, has not resigned or left the race. He's still in the race. Why would your boss decide to do that, considering that he was even third?
I'm not in a position to determine Kennedy Japon's campaign strategy. I'm sorry.
Okay. What is the decision? Would he support any of the candidates because he's wishing them well? Is he going to wish any of the top four?
He has wished them well.
Would he support any of them?
He has wished them well.
Would he support any of them?
He has wished them well. That's, I think, what the statement says.
is the campaign team effectively disbanded?
I don't think there's anything like that in the statement.
Why would you still have a campaign team when you're not going into a race? I just want to know, because I'm asking this because I want to know what Buaben...
I'm not in the position to be terminated.
I'm asking this because I want to know what Buaben Asamoa is going to do next and what is left for...
I have always been and I will always be.
Are you going to switch camp now that one camp has become dormant?
I have always been and I will always be.
Have always been NPP and always be NPP?
I will always be.
Are you going to switch camp?
I have always been and I will always be.
Thank you for speaking to us and wish you all the best, sir.
My pleasure, bro.
That's Buaben Asamoa. He's a lawyer. He's a former member of parliament for Adentan. He's a spokesperson for the Alan Keyerematen campaign team.